I'm a survivor in every way.
In every way.
Paula Schneider, CEO of G Komen, a powerhouse in the world on women's health and a breast cancer survivor herself.
It's a daunting thing and certainly a difficult thing to hear. And your world sort of swirls and goes to black. And then you have to get knowledge, and the more information that you get, information is power, and you create your plan, and then you figure out your way out of the black hole.
She's not afraid to fight for her organization's goals, even on the national stage.
We're staying strictly in our lane, and our lane is helping women and helping with breast cancer.
G Komen has made incredible strides in the fight against breast cancer, and Schneider says she wants to go even further.
What goals do you have or visions for Komen going forward?
I want to democratize the ability to do research.
Welcome to The Conversation with Pat Harvey. In this series, I will dive into various topics and issues with my guests in a more intimate and unfiltered setting. And my guest today is a survivor, advocate, and major leader in the breast cancer community. She is the president and CEO of G Komen for the Cure, Miss Paula Schneider. Paula, thank you so much for coming to our house and having this conversation. You're such an inspiration to so many people. You've had many hardships in your life that you've had to endure, first with your mother's breast cancer,
right,
and then your own, and I know you have children, so tell me about that journey with your mom and yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for making everything pink for me. I know you did that. And I am a breast cancer survivor. I had triple negative breast cancer, which is one of the most deadly kinds of breast cancer. I'm 18 years out, which is great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
yes,
it's nice to be here. And triple negative just simply means that they don't have a cure for that, they don't have a cure for that, or they don't have a cure for that.
3 times.
3 times. So it makes it much more difficult to treat. My mom died of breast cancer.
Did she have triple X?
She did not. You know, they didn't really call it that, so we don't really know. Because when I was diagnosed 18 years ago, they didn't call it triple negative either. It was just really hard to treat. So I'm not sure what she had. But she didn't carry the gene. I don't carry the BRCA gene mutation. But that doesn't mean that you are not prone to get breast cancer, because you know, only about 15% of breast cancers are directly related to the gene mutation. So the rest is random.
So you decided, though, to get tested because of your mother's diagnosis?
No, I actually felt a lump.
And
I felt under my armpit, and I thought, not good. And so I went to go get tested, and they told me right then and there, you have breast cancer. And you know, it's a daunting thing, and certainly a difficult thing to hear. And your world sort of swirls and goes to black. And then you have to get knowledge, and the more information that you get, information is power, and you create your plan, and then you figure out your way out of the black hole.
So you know what? It sounds as if you started your journey aside from your mom's. I mean, you didn't go get tested because she did. You felt a lump. You went in and got more information. And 9 times out of 10, I'm willing to say you probably got more information than your mother.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. But it was also, I mean, you know, I went for annual mammograms, and I was literally 12 months. I was just setting up an appointment for my next mammogram, and I was already stage 2, and they thought it was stage 3 to begin with. It had already spread into my lymph nodes. So if you feel like there's anything that's wrong with you, go get tested. And there's been so many women ever since COVID that have not had mammograms. And ladies, you know, put your big girl panties on, go out there and get your mammograms, because it still is the best standard of care that we have.
We're going to talk more about how often, when you should start getting tested, how often you should get tested. But most importantly, Paula, what you're saying is if you feel something, then go check it out right away.
Yeah, be your own health advocate, because nobody else is going to be.
Okay. Do we want to talk about the BRCA gene at all? I interviewed a young woman not long ago, last year I want to say, a beautiful actress. Her mom had breast cancer, and she carried the gene. At the time, she wasn't diagnosed, but she wanted to have her breasts removed just to, and I want to say get ahead of it, I guess you would say.
Prophylactically.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, there's up to an 85% chance you'll get breast or ovarian or both. So it is not like it's not a little percentage. So if you are well, you're not diagnosed, but if you carry the BRCA gene mutation, you really got to take care of it.
Okay.
And
All
you
right.
certainly have to have vigilance and watching of what's going on. But, you know, for the most part, I think it's really most important for you to speak with your doctor, find out what your options are, because you don't want to be a ticking time bomb and just sit around and wait.
Right. Okay. We're going to get, again, we're going to talk more about that because
Yeah.
I also want to talk about women who don't see a doctor regularly and may not have access to health care like a lot of other women do. But I want to get back to you personally for a moment. You've had such an impressive arc in your career, okay? Because you joined Komen in 2017.
Correct.
Right? But after that, well, before that, you were in the retail world. So I guess I'm interested in how were you able to, you know, go from retail to being the CEO of Komen?
Well, I am the best dressed in the health world.
I
just
believe
want
that.
to tell you that. You know, it's funny because I was actually getting an award as being one of the top female retailers in the country. And I was supposed to get up, and it was a women's group, and I was supposed to get up and talk about being empowered and have something to do with retail. And I had nothing. So I literally got up and I spoke from the heart, and I just said that I was most empowered when I was the least physically powerful when I had breast cancer. Because if you're like us and you're used to being large and in charge and you take care of your family, and I was running big companies, and you know, your social life, all of the things that go on, your business travel, all of the things, and you can't get up to go to the bathroom anymore. You can't take care of your children when you're in treatment, and or at least for me, because it was really difficult treatment, I had to accept help. So while I was on stage, I was explaining the story. It was a women's group, so it was from the heart. And I sat back down next to a friend of mine who was the CEO of Chico's at the time. And she said to me, okay, well, while you were on stage, I got an email from a recruiter, and they're looking for a new CEO of Susan G. Komen. And would you ever consider doing that? And I went, yes, I would. And it wasn't that quick. I mean, it was literally, I was running a publicly traded company. This was Thursday. Friday, I had the job rec. Monday, I left the company. I didn't even have an interview.
Wow.
But I just decided that if I wanted to do something that was more meaningful for me, it was time to make that change. And I could always go get another job.
By the way, she was president and CEO of American Apparel, a very popular company, and
Yeah.
Delta Gallo Premium Bands.
Yeah, well,
brands.
7 for All Mankind jeans. And I probably have many things that I've designed over the years in your closet.
Yeah, yes, you do. Your and my daughter's closet,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
So this was quite the professional shift, though. Was this the time when you felt you really put your life first? In other words, you know, you wanted to do more for not only for yourself, but
Yeah,
for
it
other
was,
women.
well, running American Apparel was a bit mission-based too, because we were the largest manufacturer in the United States, and I wanted to help all those people save their jobs. You know, there were 9,000 people in LA.
Yeah.
So that was mission-based to a certain extent, because I really did want that to succeed. But doing something for the greater good of women. I have 2 grown daughters. I have 2 new little grandbabies now, and for
Oh,
me,
congratulations.
yeah, it's the most important thing for me is keeping my daughters safe, and that's illustrative of everyone else's daughters that are out there. So for me, I wanted to do something that was meaningful, that would honor my mother, that would do good for the world.
Okay. Unless, I don't want to gloss over anything, though, because you did replace someone who was pretty, what should I say, controversial, the chairman of American Apparel.
Oh, yeah, it was a bucket of crazy.
Yeah.
You don't have to gloss over it. I mean, for those 2 years, I was, you know, there was something that went on every
Yeah.
single day that you can't imagine. I had, you know, round-the-clock security for 2 years. We had
You
to
did
move,
as well?
Yeah, my daughters did at USC, and we had to move out of our house, and you know, it was a wild time. I thought I was just going to be running a T-shirt company, but you know, there was a lot of discord in trying to keep it going.
And a
Literally.
lot of that having to do with the chairman at the
With the
time.
founder.
With the founder at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, because he got fired, I got hired,
Yeah.
and
Didn't know about that, about you having to have security. So you've gone through quite a lot. You know, when I talked about having some hardships that,
Yeah.
that you've had endured, I didn't know about that one. So
Yeah.
but here you are. So it
I'm a survivor in every way.
in every way. And it wasn't as difficult for you to make that shift, I would think. That shouldn't have been such a difficult
Yeah,
decision.
no, I didn't have to have bodyguards. You know, I was just having to go to races and walks and talk with women and their families, and you know, all the things that we're doing. And it's not just about races and walks. I mean, this is an organization that is so important in what they do and what they have done on the quest for curing breast cancer. And breast cancer is like 100 different diseases. It's not just one disease. There are many subtypes. And I'm not a doctor. I will never get into the glories of the cell cycle, but I will be able to tell you, like the work that we do and the way that we do it, it's sort of the research side is incredibly important. Public policy and advocacy is important. And then it's really just offering a home in a community for everyone that has had breast cancer, or everyone who has someone in their family or a friend. And that's everyone.
Oh boy, is it.
It is.
I think we can say breast cancer is something, if you have not had it, you're going to know somebody who has or who will. And it's not only women, it's also men.
Yeah.
So there's so many, as you say, different subsets. We recognize October as Breast Cancer Month, but there are so many things that happen all year round. And what should women be doing? What should they know about?
Well, first of all, it's know you're normal, right? Understand what your body is about. Understand, what your family health history is. If you go to KMAN.org, there's a family health history test that you can take that will tell you questions you might want to ask your healthcare provider, options for you, just information. And information, like I said before, when you get diagnosed, it's certainly power, but it's powerful now. Especially the most daunting thing that is happening right now is that there are so many younger women getting diagnosed, and these are women in their 20s and 30s, ladies. So, make sure that if you feel something, don't just think, oh, I'm 34, I can't have breast cancer. You can. So, especially if you have a family history, and that's why it's important for you to know what your family history is, to take this little test. It takes about 5 minutes, and then you've got a baseline, right? And if you have breast cancer in your family, you probably want to start getting mammograms at like 35. And everyone else, KOMEN was instrumental in getting the age for breast cancers screening to go down to 40 from 50.
Oh, congratulations on that.
I mean,
so very
I would have
important.
died. I was in my 40s if this was not available. And I had, great health care and everything else. But for those that don't, it's incredibly important.
It's incredibly important as well for women to not be afraid. I find that in talking to women about breast cancer or just about anything, especially women with children, it's so very important, but I think they're afraid to do it because they think, well, I'm doing okay right now.
Yeah.
What if I do find something? What's going to happen to me as a mother?
Yeah.
That's one of the first things they think about in caregiving.
First of all, if you are a mother, then you should care more about getting tested and just getting your screenings so that you can make sure that you do not have anything, because if you're screened and it's caught early, the chances of you living through it are so much higher, right? You've heard about early detection. Everyone knows about early detection, but you got to take it seriously. So again, being your own health advocate, because it's the #1 disease that women fear most.
Indeed. And one of the most popular.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
What are some of the diagnoses that women can get? You've talked about stage 1s.
Yeah.
There are different stages of breast cancer.
There's different types, subtypes, stages.
Okay.
Right. So it's 100 different diseases. It's not just one disease, and that's why personalized medicine is so important now, because you may have something that have a comorbidity of something else, and that would require you to have a different type of treatment. But that's one of the first things. If we have a helpline, and we had 60,000 calls last year on our helpline, we have psychosocial workers that answer the phone, and for the most part, it's I have been diagnosed with breast cancer, or my wife has, or my sister has, and we don't know what to do next. And we help people to understand, okay, here's the questions you want to ask your doctor. Take somebody with you when you go. I mean, all of the things, because I'll tell you, as soon as the doctor starts talking, they'll say something. To me, they were talking to me about the chemo medicine that they were giving you so that you did anti-nausea and anti-diarrhea and all of that, but then it could cause nausea and diarrhea. And I was like, okay, that's all I focused on. The irony of that for like the next 20 minutes, I didn't hear a word that the person was saying. So, I mean, it's important for you to have your people around you, and for you to to know the questions to ask. So what we do is we provide a community that helps you, and you can talk to our people as long as you want and with as many questions as you have, and we're there to help because we've been around for so many years. And we've been around for like 44 years now, and the other part of it is that we know like the best breast health centers. We know, you know, all of the questions that people are going to ask, and we have this infrastructure and this ecosphere that we've created that you could not recreate now.
You know, and you do wonderfully well with that. You were talking about make sure you have someone go with you, or even ask the doctor, can I record this conversation so I can go back and check and see what you said, just so I can remember it. You brought it up. You were discovered 1982 by Nancy Brinker, and her sister.
That's Susan.
Is
Susan G. Komen.
Right, and she died of breast cancer at the age of 36.
Yeah, with 2 kids, 2 small children.
That is really.
And Nancy went on to get breast cancer as well. So, I mean, you know, ran in her family, and she's a force. I mean, she created peer-to-peer fundraising, and these walks and runs that you now see with a lot of different organizations. I mean, she was the one that created that and started that massive movement. And the reason that pink and ribbons are around at all is because it was Susan's birthday is in October. Her favorite color was pink. So that's why October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that's also why the pink is, you know, our symbol, and we created the ribbon. So, you know, and now you've got ribbons in every color for every disease. And
well, I will say this. I know about a lot of the work that you do. I was a Circle of Promise ambassador for Susan G. Komen.
Awesome.
Back in, I want to say 2015, and one of the missions that I had personally was to go to different communities, in particular the minority community, because we know, according to your research, that more Black women have a higher probability of having 40% breast cancer.
high, not of having it, of dying from it.
Of dying from breast cancer.
So it's 40% chance of dying is higher, 40% more mortality rate than your white friends. And
that's why it was so very important, and I wanted to do this, to talk to different communities about getting tested, because when you have communities like that, where you may not do it as much, you want to make sure your kids are taken care of. You may be in a community where you don't have a clinic, that clinic closed down, especially during COVID, and they may not have the ability to actually even get to a doctor and get tested. So there were a lot of churches and organizations around Komen where you would take mobile centers to them, to the community. So I think the purpose and the whole message is no excuse. Have it done. Right? And we have Stand for Her, which is our health equity revolution, you know, and nothing that is going on in the geopolitical world is going to stop us from making sure that we are taking care of the women that need us the most. And we're representative of everything that we do, so that we make sure that all of our research that we do is done on the population writ large, not just white women. We make sure that health equity is literally woven into absolutely everything that Komen does, and it will continue to do so until the point where Black women don't die 40% more than white women. So you got to take care of your constituents and your base, because we care about women dying. So we will always, period, end of story. It's not political, it's apolitical, and everyone should care about that. And again, I'm going to attest to what they do. One year we were at one of the walks, and at Dodger Stadium, I had met a young lady in her mid-30s, had a child, found out she had breast cancer. Her mom didn't have breast cancer, wasn't in her family. She was pretty mortified, didn't necessarily know what to do, but she came to that walk with me. And I remember her getting on stage, telling her story, and then next thing I know, she was in a tent. There were several tents set up with support systems, survivors sharing their story, and also giving out just such crucial and important information about where to go. If you do have breast cancer, you know, even if you don't have insurance, that has got to be the message to get women to please
in the
get yourself
first
checked.
2 months of this year, we have we have a fiscal year that's different than our calendar year, which started in April. In the first 2 months of this year, we have guided people towards $1.2 million worth of free services. So we have our own financial assistance program, but we also are able to guide you depending on where you live, because again, we've created this, we know this ecosphere and we understand where everything is. And younger women are getting breast cancer more and more and more and more, and that I had told you a little bit earlier that I wrote this very sweet book.
Yes.
And it's a children's book, and it's called Love Stay Strong. And essentially what it was is that I had 4 women that I spoke to that were in their 30s, all with small children, that I spoke to within the course of a month. One was my daughter's friend, and 3 other young ladies that I didn't know, but one had 3 little children, one had 2 little children, one had 1 little child, and it's heartbreaking to hear the stories. And one of the main questions that they asked me is, how do I tell my children, because I'm going to lose my hair, it's, you know, it's going to be very evident that I'm not I'm not going to look like I do now. And so I decided I was going to write a book to help young women tell small children. And it's not necessarily just about breast cancer. I mean, there's a nod to it because it has one page where the dad is helping the mom shave her head.
Aww.
And it was from my own experience, but when my daughters were 11 and 13, but this children's book is for anyone from, let's say, 3 to 10. And it's very, very sweet. And it talks about, you know, that like dolphins have pods, and their pods are people that care about you, and you have a pod, and you know, and questions are good for your brain, so please ask your mommy any questions that you want. And,
oh, wonderful.
You know, and it also on the back page has, like, if you have older children and you want to tell them, you know, there's resources for that as well.
What's the name of the book?
Love Stay Strong.
Love Stay Strong.
And it's coming out in September from Penguin Random House.
Right before October.
Right before. I kind of planned it that way.
I bet you did, right? Right before the big event.
That's right.
You know, I wanted to ask you about, you said this was based on your own experience.
Yeah.
Your husband helped you shave your head.
Yeah.
And the girls watched.
Yeah.
Did that help them process what you were going through? The family involvement.
It's really, really, really hard. I remember, you know, if I ever had to be an actress and cry on stage and you have to remember something,
yeah.
You know, that would be the moment where I had to show my mom my shaved head. And it was a moment that was, you know, like she burst into tears and I burst into tears, and you know, kids are a little bit more resilient.
Yeah.
But they all handle it differently. They all handle it differently.
Well, that's...
One wanted to see every scar and one couldn't go to the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Well, we're going to make sure that I want to have that book myself.
Yeah, I'll make sure you have one.
I think that would be very, very helpful.
It's so sweet.
You know, I always talk about Komen in the sense that, and even breast cancer in general, your organization, you have done more research and made more advancement in technology, medicines, treatment. And I always talk about that because, as you know, anytime you send out an invite to somebody to come join this organization, make a donation, they want to know, well, what's being done?
Yeah, what do you do?
Right? How is my money being spent? Yeah. Is there something that you can show me that's been achieved? So I want you to talk a bit about that, about some of the progress that you've made, of course, and if there's anything really specific that you can say.
I will say that it's a really important organization. First, I've spent some time and some energy going backwards since I've been here now 8 years, and I wanted to see, like, how many drugs did we bring to market, what did we invest in, and what came from it. And we have a scientific advisory board that's made up of the top docs in the world, the rock stars, literally, of breast cancer. And they pay it forward by being on our advisory board because at some point we've sponsored them and helped them in their careers. And out of the 30 FDA-approved drugs for breast cancer in the last, let's say, decade and a half, Komen was partially responsible, had invested, before there's any kind of return on investment, only saving lives, in 29 out of the 30. And I can safely say that they might not have made it to all the way through the pipeline if there hadn't been early investments in the biology. So that's incredibly important because those are drugs that have saved countless people's lives.
Right.
And one of the other things that we do, you know, we're the only 360-degree organization, and it's expensive to do all of these things. There's the research side of it, and then there's public policy and advocacy. We built up our public policy and advocacy shop. When I first got here, we had 2 employees. I think we have, I don't know, 18, 20 now in that area. And we have passed 50 Komen-led state bills for women's health since 2019.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's big. And
It's really big.
yeah, and these are things like oral
6
parity,
years.
making sure that the payors, the insurance companies have to pay for oral chemotherapy as well as infusion chemotherapy. It's, I mean, you know, there's a myriad. Every single year we go to the Hill, and there's a lot of power in women in pink with pitchforks. And yeah, we get things done. And there's about 120,000 people that volunteer to be in our advocacy world.
Can I ask you this question? Would you say that, and I'm doing this only because people that are listening, I just want them to make sure, oh, okay, let me go get checked, or let me make sure I take care of myself.
Yeah.
Is the treatment getting easier? Is it less invasive?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the treatment that I had for my chemotherapy, they don't even give it anymore.
Wow. That's
So,
just how much?
18 years. But I mean, you know, it was rough.
Yeah.
But they don't give that exact cocktail because it's too hard for people to get through. So the treatment has gotten much better. It has gotten, and there's also, one of the things that Komen sponsored, which I think is fascinating, was called the Taylor X study. And this is the head of Stanford Oncology, who was our head chief scientific advisor, George Sledge, Dr. George Sledge, for years. He started this study that was to find out how many people actually need chemo. And it used to be standard of care. Everybody got chemo.
No
Except
matter
for,
what.
well, unless you were like maybe stage 0, you know,
And
you
you
might
didn't
not have, you might have
necessarily
just
need
had,
it.
yeah, but the rest of, let's say, the 85% got chemo. Now, my type of cancer would always require chemo because it's such a difficult cancer to treat. But now there's probably, triple negative, yeah, there's about 40 to 50% of people in the middle that do not have to have chemotherapy because the outcomes are as good for them without it as with it. But, you know, again, you have to be more afraid of the disease than the cure.
Okay.
Because nobody wants chemo. I mean, you'd rather clean your garage or do anything than chemo. But
Right.
nevertheless, it is something that could save your life.
That's important. That is treatable. Now, we've talked about, you mentioned about budgets. I want to ask you how Komen is going to be impacted by the budget bill that just passed. And if so, how?
We don't take government money. So all of our world is private donations, peer-to-peer fundraising, major gifts, corporations, et cetera. But my concern is bigger than that for the United States because there's about 40 to 50% of breast cancer research that is on the block to be cut. And we are the second largest, Komen is the second largest in investing in research other than the government, the US government. And we're tiny comparatively, right? So we can't make that up. We would love to be able to make that up because we do amazing work, but you know, it's very challenging. And we're losing scientists, which is really even more challenging right now because people aren't going into the sciences because they're concerned that their budgets are going to be cut and that they won't have jobs. And we have been paying, you know, we've been working on scholarships and things like that for years to keep people in the breast cancer space, but we can't do it alone. And now when you have all of these budget cuts, you're going to lose, first of all, there was a lot of trials that were in work that are just being stopped.
Are there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And unfortunately, you know, they might be in the last year of a trial with 10 or 15 years because these are long-term things.
Yes.
And the information might be incomplete because it's not quite finished, but you lose all of that, and then you're going to lose the scientists that are doing the trials, and you're going to lose literally all of the benefit of the data that's been collected. So it's extremely challenging right now. We came out against the big, beautiful bill. Now, and it isn't because we're bipartisan or not, it's because we're staying strictly in our lane, and our lane is helping women and helping with breast cancer. So if you're doing something that's going to hurt our constituents and our stakeholder base, then you can think that it is political, but it's not. This is really right in our lane, it's right in our wheelhouse. We have to care about cancer, because we can't pick up the ball and run with it, nor can anyone else. There's just, we will do what we can, and organizations like ours are going to be much more important now because there's nobody else that's going to be doing it.
That's true. You're going to have to do it on your own, basically.
Yeah. Well, and it's not as though it's like a 4-year stint or whatever that might be, because the challenge with that is that you've lost the information. So, you know, getting this back to where we are now could take a decade or more.
Oh, wow. Were you in contact or talks, maybe, I don't know if I would say you personally, but your organization or a group with anybody in Congress?
Oh, everybody.
And so you lobbied. You told them, hey,
Lobbied
we need this.
hard.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
didn't make any difference.
Yeah, we're on page 875. You know, there were so many other things to think about, and it is challenging. But you know,
I'm sorry to hear that. And
me
the
too.
reason too, really, is that I know what kind of work that you do, and I know the advancements that you've made, and I know that takes research to get to that next step, or that next drug that's not going to be as invasive, that's going to be, that help to cure women.
Yeah.
It won't be as expensive.
Yeah.
Or,
Again, we can get rid of one of the three of triple negative, right? Because there's there's so many fantastic treatments now, but it's because of research. Otherwise, you don't have them. They don't just pop up, and they're expensive to make, and they are long term, and you know we've given over $1 billion, 1.3 billion, I think it is, in research.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Okay, so listen, because there's this setback, if you will.
Yeah.
Still get tested because they're still here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're still here. You're still working.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, what goals do you have or visions for Komen going forward?
I want to democratize the ability to do research. And one of the things that we're doing for anyone that's out there that is interested in women helping other women, because that's what this is about, we have Share for Cures that we've created, which is a patient-led platform where we are going directly out to patients, so to anyone who's had breast cancer, women, men, all colors, everyone. In the United States, it has to be in the United States, and we're asking them to just sign up on our website, which is komen.org, and you spit in a tube like you would with any of the ancestry type of things. It's all de-identified data. We are creating the largest database for women for breast cancer outside of a medical institution. Wow. And the ability for us we have the top docs in the world, literally, that all work with us and have great respect for Komen, and we have great respect for them. And so we are working together to democratize the ability to do research and the ability to share this information only specifically for research, and it is de-identified and it's safe, and I was patient number 1.
All right, so you just said it. This is for research, period.
Period.
Within the group.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. It is, and it's as cyber safe as we can be.
All right. I know you have some upcoming events in Southern California that people can look forward to, probably talking about.
Yeah.
October. So
October, November. I know we have gosh, I wish I would have known the dates here exactly, because we have a walk in November in San Diego. We have a walk in November in Los Angeles, and we have a 3-day, which is the endurance event, which is in San Diego, also in November. And that's where you walk 60 miles. The other walks, people are 3 miles. Anyone can do it.
Sure.
There's a 1-mile turnaround if you can't make it for 3. You don't have to run, and you literally are just with a whole group of people that care. If you go there, it fills your cup, and you see
really
the amount of
does.
humanity that you have that care about this issue and that care about women.
Well, I love the fact that the ones that I participated in, I believe the last one was at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
And you have the parade. It just really, they get so into it. You've got your 5-year survivors all the way up, and we call them out by name, and they come out in their groups. We're all got pink, and I had a pink feather boa that I wore every year, just because, and it was so much fun. Besides talking about such an important subject, breast cancer. And meeting people, I described the young lady that came with me, and she got help just by being there. So whether you're a survivor or if you even have a loved one, is just...
Or you care about science, or you care about cancer, because also a lot of the work that we do will touch other cancers. You know, breast and prostate are somewhat related. If you carry the BRCA gene mutation, you are prone to, if you're a man and you carry it, which you can, you're more prone to prostate cancer. So there's things that we are working on that will cross boundaries into other cancers as well.
You know, I think one thing that we can agree on a lot of things, but when it comes to different types of cancers and younger people, I'm just going to skip forward, and colorectal cancer. I know of so many younger people, that's in my family, But younger people
The
who are
most
being
most
diagnosed,
treatable of all, though,
is the
colorectal. If
But you
you
have
and
to do
believe
it
me, I'm not a
early.
doctor, but you actually have to go and get checked out in order to be treated.
Yeah,
But
and
it
I
is
think-
one of those that if you find it early, you have a really high survival rate. Thank you.
And getting even doctors and insurance companies to come together and, yeah, okay, I'm going to pay for this. Normally, you would have to be 45. They
yeah.
lowered it to 45, but that stops a lot of people also
Yeah.
from getting the health care.
Again, you got to be your own health advocate, and
Okay.
you know, and join groups like like ours. We have 130,000 people that help us get people voted in, voted out, that don't care about women's health, and all we care about is women's health, and it's completely bipartisan. So we do as well in Oklahoma as we do in California, right? It's because people care about women. Again, we're not political. It may look like because we came out against the bill, but the reason that we did was because it's hurting women with breast cancer.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, well, no, thank you for having
No,
me.
really, it's just been a wonderful conversation, and this is something that everybody can get involved in.
Yeah.
Give me your website again.
Komen.org, KOMEN.org. And there's ways to get involved. There's always, of course, ways to donate. I would be remiss if I didn't say that.
No,
And then
that's very important.
if you are someone who has either been diagnosed or in the past a survivor or living with metastatic disease and want to help us with our quest of democratizing the ability to do research to save your lives, then join us, because it's an army of women helping other women.
And congratulations on your tenure.
Thank you. Yeah,
And of course,
I'm happy to be here.
Everything,
Yeah.
With the organization as well as
Thank
being
you.
CEO, I
Thank
can
you.
see why.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching the conversation with Pat Harvey. Make sure to check our YouTube page for future episodes.